Hello, happy Friday. Today is the 5th of December, which means that it is Dreamers release day in cinemas. Gang, 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 gang. I am currently in Thailand. I've come here to do a Muay Thai retreat called Beast Retreat. Shout out to the gang. And because I'm in Thailand, it means that I didn't go to or get to be at any of the screenings where they would have been Q&As. And I, as you probably know already, can chat for England and probably Nigeria as well. And I love Q&As myself. I go to them as much as I can when I get to watch these films that our filmmakers offer us every year. I always feel so lucky as an artist when I get to go listen to filmmakers talk about their art. And I didn't want to, I guess, if there was anyone that ever wanted to hear me talk about my art, I didn't want to miss that opportunity. So I'm doing it myself. I'm literally going to answer a couple of questions that I probably would have enjoyed being asked if I was at the Q&A. But anyway, let's not make this a long video. My name is Ronke Dekalojo and I star as Isio in the debut feature film by writer, director, Joy Garoro Akpojoto. That's gang. This is my character book. If you have followed my process for a while, or a little while, you know that I do this thing called character books, where I create histories for the characters, so that there is a detachment between myself and them, not because I am reluctant to stay connected to them, but to honor their story in alignment with mine by making sure that they are two very different stories, two very different narratives. One of my wonderful friends and incredible artists in the industry went to a screening of Dreamers, shout out to Baby Sis B, and watched the film and sent lovely feedback, but mentioned that in the Q&A, my director, Joy, said that I was methody. And I was like, huh? I don't feel like I'm a methody actor. And then Baby Sis B was like, no, Ronks, I think you are. And I was like, what, really? And it's interesting because I don't know, maybe the word method has some kind of possibly, let's say, negative connotations. Do you know? But the reason I have this process is so that I feel like I am always in the safest position to be an artist. I can be able to know what is mine mentally, physically, spiritually, energetically, and know what is my character. Because Isio, let me tell you a quick story. We shot a proof of concept for this film. Isio's lived with me for a very long time. She's been in my life for many years. And we shot a proof of concept and I had red locks. If you knew me back then, I had locked my hair and I dyed it red. And in the proof of concept, I couldn't disconnect from what I was seeing, which was Ronke, trying to be what Isio had experienced. And of course, this was proof of concept, so I didn't really have time to figure out exactly who she was. But once I watched the proof of concept, I knew that I got to find out who she is. And I got to make sure this is very, very authentic in the most possible way that I can, right? With the tools that I have available to me at the time. And the tools that I have available is my 100 questions. But I realized after, I'm just going to take you through my book. I love my books. If you don't know, I love my character books. This is me and Joy. This is me and Zinzi. Zinzi was my choreographer. Taught me all the dances that you get to see in the dance. Here is Joy, I, and Reggie, but you can't really see it because it's blurred. Reggie was our incredible hair and makeup designer. Shout out to Big Reg. This was a picture of the read-through. And here is gorgeous Diana and Aisha. And so here is the character work, right? All of the information. It was, what words and phrases do you use often? I'm fine, which she says loads, but she's not fine. And during the process of creating the character book, I realized that there is a lot more I need to actually figure out about her that I don't think is going to become available to me through my normal process. There are questions in my book where what is your best memory? If I could change one thing from my past, who would it be? What would it be and why? What is your worst memory? What is your if you watch the film, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't watched the film, then you'll know what I'm talking about. What is your worst memory? This is the hardest thing to write because it haunts me every night. There was so much about her journey that I realized I wasn't able to process. I wasn't able to allow it to flow through me and onto the page because she didn't know how to process what she had experienced. And writing down her past life or what she had to escape from in order to where we meet her in the present just wasn't flowing. So it was flowing, but just to an extent. So I took a new approach, and I started to look at what it meant to have a nervous system that has potentially been in flight mode for years. What does that do to the body? And I was like, okay, you're scientifically, when you're scared, immediately your body, because you're protecting all of these vital organs. So I realized, I was like, oh, she lives here. And there's something about her body that is so contorted that we can visibly see there is an imbalance. That's what I wanted to play with. But I didn't tell anybody, obviously, in case people were like, no. So it was subtle. I tried to make it as subtle as possible. And what I did or tried to achieve, if you watch the film, is she is off center. So her shoulders aren't aligned. Isio is like this. She kind of, it looks so funny when I do it to myself. But it's almost like these bits is covered because there needs to be a form of protection. I also thought a lot about her breathing and not being able to breathe deeply until Farah comes in and starts to illuminate and melt all of the solidified parts of Isio. And what happens, or what I tried to do during the film, I tried to balance her out as time went on. And obviously, as a task, because we're shooting out of chronological order, I had to remember where we were in the story. Obviously, you should actually have to remember where you are in the story, no matter what. That's your job. But I had to remember where her body was, because she couldn't, she entered like this, meets Farah, and there's a bit more because what's going on, and then so you know what I mean. That was fun though. It was difficult but fun because I had to check in with Isio, like, where are we right now? What's your body doing right now? And what does this mean? What does this translate? How does it translate? That was a really great challenge, and I really loved doing that in that way. I just love what we do. I love it. Another question I probably would have enjoyed answering. Oh, another thing I did was I cut my locks off. Nobody really knows that I cut my locks off for Isio, but I was like, there's a certain type of preening that goes into someone that has the locks that I had. And I was like, the story of Isio having sister locks doesn't align with, I think, her current backstory and what she had been through. And I cut my hair the year before, I think, and then we had to move the shoot to the next year anyway. But I also thought about what it meant to be when you're in fight or flight and what your body does when it sends all of your blood and muscles into your stomach, like you're not hungry, there's no hunger, there's nothing. So she didn't eat, she wasn't hungry. There are points in the film where we see her being taken like slices of toast or plates of food. And I guess one of the most beautiful points of the film is you get to see her indulge in a meal with her newfound friends, a home cooked meal. And it's the first time you really see her eat something, which is like nourishing to the body. Another question I would have enjoyed answering would have been, what was the hardest thing to shoot for me? It was all hard, but in the sense of it being a challenge. And out here, we meet challenges with enthusiasm. Bam! Hello! Apparently, is it a Greek or Latin word where they said thos is God, to be filled with God? So enthusiasm means to be filled with God. I try to approach all my challenges filled with God. What else? But so all of it in general was a gorgeous challenge. But the very first day of shooting, this was wicked and bad of them, but I loved them for it in the end. The very first day of shooting for me was a tracking scene. Tracking, by the way, in case you don't know what tracking means, tracking is there's like a train track and they put it on the floor and the camera slides on the track. That's the tracking scene. And it was a tracking scene, just me alone, monologue of the most traumatic time of Isio's journey, and probably the catalyst to her, definitely to her leaving Nigeria, but also to her story and where it goes from there. And it was interesting because I had done a lot of work to prep for the retelling of that story. So she tells that story to the people who are listening to her asylum appeal. She tells them what happens to her, and we don't see them. We just see her reliving this in her little front bang wig that she thinks she's doing something bad with that big wig. She thinks she got some fashion going in with that. Who looks like that? That woman from The Incredibles with that with that wig. She thinks she's doing the business. It was scary because I knew there was a technicality to this scene that I needed to hit in terms of when she allowed herself to be consumed by her emotions, when she allowed herself to cry, and also where the camera would be at certain times. So I had to be, I guess, both my artist brain was on clearly and my Isio brain was firing off. She was doing whatever she needed to do to get the story told. If memory serves me well, I think we got it in 3 takes. You're gonna have to ask Joy. But if memory serves me well, I bodied that shit. Pardon my language. I love it. I love it so much. What we do, I love it. So yeah, the tracking shot. So when you see it in the film, or if you have seen the film, the one where Isio is stood and she's looking directly to camera and she's just telling the people about what she had survived. Another question I think I would have enjoyed being asked is, what do I hope people take away from our film? I do believe that people come to the cinema, they come to the theatre, they come to these spaces to hear and be a part of stories because not only do they reflect certain parts of us, but they allow us to connect with those deeper parts of ourselves and each other, to come into community and go, oh, that's what we are collectively going through, because we're all one body, isn't it? I hope that the audiences come into the cinema and experience love in the space, in themselves. And in a very philosophical way, I hope that they are encouraged, motivated, empowered, pardon me, to believe that there may be physical boundaries and physical limitations. There may be four walls that block you into wherever it is that you are in your life at that time. But there is an internal journey. There is love, there is light, there is overcoming, there is triumph. I'm I'm getting a bit emotional because I think our story is very philosophical. I think what Joy has written is incredible. And I feel very honored and grateful to have been a collaborator on this project. And I'm very, very grateful to Isio. I love ya. I am very, very grateful to Quiddity Films. I am very, very grateful to all of our heads of department. I'm very, very grateful to my body and my mind and stories. I hope that you enjoy the film. If you can. Is enjoy the right word? I hope you go and experience the love baby we all created. That's it from me. Here we go. I don't know what else you want to see. Let me see if I can find that scene real quick, so I can show you what I mean when I said tracking shot and how this was the first day. Shout out to everybody, man. I don't know if I can find it, guys. If I can't find it, then it's a waste of time and I should just sign out. No, I can't find it. I should be able to just find the page and be like, it's here. I remember. But mind you, we shot this film at the beginning of last year. So I'll have you know, it's almost 2 years ago. In next month, it's 2 years ago. So I feel like I don't even look like me. That's this, yo. That's me.